Hey y'all, so this is part 2 of Florida's death row inmates. So I'm gonna start with Florida's one and only female on death row, and she's a black woman, y'all. Her name is Tina Brown. She was given a death sentence for the 2010 kidnapping and unaliving of 19-year-old Adriana Zimmerman. At the time of the crime, Brown was 40 years old, and Zimmerman had allegedly slept with Brown's boyfriend, and the two ladies got into a physical altercation, and Brown lost that fight. Sometime later, Brown lured Zimmerman to her home to make up. Then she, her 16-year-old daughter, and a next-door neighbor beat and tased Zimmerman before taking her to a forest and then dousing her with gasoline and setting her on fire. The ladies then fled, but Zimmerman was still alive and she managed to get help from a nearby home. Zimmerman did unfortunately die 16 days later from her injuries. Brown was sentenced to death, and her 16-year-old daughter received life in prison, and that next-door neighbor received only 25 years as they had a plea deal and they testified against Brown and her daughter. Brown has been on death row for 13 years now. Next, we have Derek Smith. He was convicted of robbing and then shooting to death a cab driver back in St. Petersburg, Florida in 1983. He was sentenced to death and has been on death row for the past 42 years now. And then we have Norman McKenzie. In 2006, he unalived two men with a hatchet in St. Johns County. He was sentenced to death in 2007, and he has been on death row for 18 years now. And next is Manolo Rodriguez. Back in 1984 in Miami, he robbed and unalived 3 people in a home, with 2 of them being elderly. Their deaths went unsolved for years. Rodriguez would call into the police station and give them false information to lead them down the wrong path. But he was eventually captured and sentenced to death in 1996. He has been on death row for the past 29 years now. And here we have Perry Taylor. He was sentenced to death in 1989 for the brutal rape and unaliving of a 38-year-old named Geraldine Birch back in 1988. She was found in a baseball field with lacerations to her private area, bite marks on her body, broken ribs, and punctured lungs. Taylor claims that he unalived Birch in self-defense as they were having consensual intercourse when she bit his ding-a-ling. He said he unalived her in a fit of rage. He has been on death row for the past 36 years now. And this is Leon Davis Jr. On December 7th of 2007, he walked inside a gas station in Polk County, pulled out a weapon, and shot to death 2 of the workers. He then fled. And a week later, on December 13th, 2007, he walked into a nationwide insurance office where he knew one of the female workers and made her and a co-worker of hers who was 5 months pregnant open a safe and give him the $900